Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. Hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off with the white pieces against the 1908 from Pakistan. E4, E5, we'll go for a Scotch. Shall we go for a Scotch gambit? Ooh. It's tempting. It's very tempting, but I think it's a bit early in the morning for crazy gambits today, to be honest. I've literally sort of just woken up, had a shower. I have to record this very quickly before I've got to go to work. So we'll keep it to something we probably know a bit better. And see what they do. They're hesitating a minute. Are they gonna play Queen H4? That would be fun. No. They go for Knight to F6, which is something I've been learning a bit about actually. We know this theory. I know the Bishop D3 line. I was shown, however, this E5 line. I don't think I'm going to play it today because I don't quite know it well enough yet. But it does lead to some very interesting variations where you're sort of kicking this knight about. Queen E7's a good move. You play like Knight C3. I think you play B4 even at some point. They go for Bishop C5. Yeah, let's just go Knight C3. No harm in that, I don't think. We can get castled pretty much straight away. Yeah, and then we want to play sort of like a H3, I believe. H3's to stop this bishop coming in on G4, but they haven't played a D5 yet. So we'll do that anyway. It stops the knight coming in if we ever want to move this rook as well, which is probably going to be a good thing at some point. Bishop B4, I don't like, to be honest. I don't know why you've played that. You might as well have just played that off the bat. Rather than moving your bishop twice, it doesn't particularly make sense in my opinion. Bishop G5 is probably a good move. I think we don't mind doubling up the pawns there. We do have to be a bit careful about losing this pawn though. If they play like a H6. We can't move the bishop back, really, because after takes, knight takes would win the pawn for them, which is not what we really want, is it? Maybe a queen f3 could work. I'd be a bit worried about a bishop b7, though. Bit worried about that. Rook e1's probably just fine as well. Just adding another defender onto the e-pawn. I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. You are sort of walking into a pin, sure, but it's easily dealt with. D6 seems very passive. Your bishop doesn't have many squares here anyway, so you probably want to go round this side. Obviously not to A6 because of our bishop. I think D5 gives you the better chances. And now I'm a bit happier going to G5. Looking for a potential E5, and I'll happily move back and weaken their king side as well. With a nice bishop here, it's going to be good for us. I think if they push a G5, obviously it's not completely winning, but I think it's a nice positional bonus for us. We can definitely think about this. 100% think about E5 here. With the pin on the knight, they would have to take, at which point they leave with double isolated pawns. If they want to return the favour, they would have to lose their bishop pair. We can take back with the rook. And there are no discovered because it's not check. And if you go for like a bishop g4, we would take your rook with check first. So I think we're just happy doing that, to be honest. I think we are just happy doing that. And yeah, we can think about maybe some knight e4 afterwards. Would be interesting. There is also very much a possibility of bishop check as well. If the queen goes to d4, which I'd love another free queen 2 days in a row, you know. I would not say no to that at all. Would not say no. We can think about potentially taking here. Going for like a rook h5, hitting this pawn after g takes would be an interesting idea. This queen would have to move first though. To stop queen takes would be annoying. So if they plan on going like a queen d7 or something, we can definitely think about this. 100% think about that. We could also think about takes, potentially. I'm not sure on that one, though. That's a wild suggestion, to be honest. Oh, they've gone queen d6. So we do have bishop takes as an idea. Ooh. It's interesting, for sure, for sure. Pawn takes, then like a rook h5. King g7 could potentially work in that situation. Could potentially work. That's actually not a horrible move, to be fair. Oh, we have knight e4 in that case. Yeah, we would have a knight e4. E4, sorry. Should we go for it? It's risky. It's risky, but I think the problem is giving up the bishop pair, in my opinion. The problem is giving up the bishop pair. There is potential of the rook getting trapped here almost. I don't think it's a horrible move, though. I really don't. I think we're going to go for it. And the bishop is obviously covering this rook as well, so there is no queen takes as an intermezzo, which is great. And then a rook h5 is possible. We could try something else, like a queen h5 would be dubious with pawn takes and queen takes. Both massive problems there. There's no check on g4 or anything, so there's none of that to calculate. Let's go h5, continue with the plan. I would have liked our queen there ideally, but there's nothing we can really do. Knight e4 looks cool. That's all I can say. You know, you're hitting the f pawn. They might have to go queen e7 at that case. Then like a queen f3 looks nice with another attack on that. King g7 might have to be played. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Queen f8 is interesting actually as well. At which point maybe a queen d2 just to hit this pawn again. Because then the king can't actually enter, and I think we actually win that pawn. The whole idea being that you're not blocking e7, but I think the threat on the h pawn is a bit too much after that. So we'll see what they do. There's big questions they need to answer, to be fair. Big questions they need to answer. Bishop c5, I think we just have knight e4 as a good move. Threatening two things, they would have to go queen e7. At which point they go there. That's interesting. That is interesting. Do we have a g3? Where can this queen go, actually? Where can this queen go? After g3, you can't go anywhere here. That's covered, that's covered. That's covered, that's covered. The rook's covered. The h-pawn's covered. That's covered, that's covered. You would have to go to d4, right? Or back. So d4 is probably more likely. No, but d4 we have check, so you have to go back. Right? After g3, you have to go back because of this, if they go to d4. And I win the queen. So you go back, and then just knight e4 again. Queen e7. And then rook takes works. Yeah, I think we're just good. Right? I don't think I'm missing anything. Everything's just covered quite neatly. I like it a lot. I really do like it a lot. This d4 is the obvious trap. I don't think they would fall for that. After all, we are in the 1900s nowadays, so we can't be relying on these cheap tactics. Queen d6 is the best move, I believe. Unless they come up with an absolute stunner of a move, I think we might have a good position here. I'd like to get rid of this light squared bishop so we can throw in a check here. But even so, I don't even know if this does anything because the king can go to f8, which is a bit annoying. So I think knight e4 is the way to go after queen d6. Queen e7 if you want to save this pawn. And then we can think about rook takes, even a queen h5 afterwards as well. And the rook's attacking f6 as well, so they really do have to deal with that. Yeah, knight e4. I can pretty much just blast out, to be honest. I'm not too worried about that. Queen d4 here is interesting. Oh, but then we have c3. Just wins a piece quite neatly. And there is none of that stuff. I was going to say because the queen is under attack, so you can't move this bishop. You have to move the queen. And I think just takes h5 is okay. I think just takes h5 is okay. You know, with queen h5 coming, you've blocked in your king there. You've blocked in your escape square, so it is going to be like a mate in 2 here. Very nice. You've got checks coming. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say, to be honest. I think we have a good attack. f5 is an interesting choice. Can I go queen h5 after that? That is interesting. That is very interesting, actually. I like that move. I really, really do like that move. Wow. Ooh, do I have knight takes f6? Ooh, tricky, tricky. Tricky, tricky. Do I have rooks h7? King takes, check. Double check. King over. I don't think so. Knight takes f6. King takes, queen there. King there, queen there. There, mate. Seems to work. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. Knight takes f6 seems like the way to go, to be honest. And if the rook comes over, then you have check for 1. Do you have check? Ooh. King back. You could check again, even. And try for a perpetual. If rook comes over, then you've got to throw in check, right? King over, check. King takes. Ooh, or is there something else? Can I do a queen d1? Queen h5, sorry. And if rook over, you go there. No, because then your bishop's blocked off. That's the problem. And if they go rook over, then you can go queen h5. No. No, so there, rook over. That's the problem line. That's the problem. It has to be check, right? No, because then you're losing your rook. Oh, this is very, very interesting. I need more time. Need more time. Okay. Okay, think. Rook over. No, so there we've discerned that this is mating, right? Yeah, that's mating. So the problem is if rook over. If rook over, you have rook h7, rook takes, bishop takes, king takes, check. No, but then king g7 check and you're losing your knight. Ooh, wow. Wow. That's crazy. Knight takes, rook h8. Wow. Yeah, it's got to be that line, surely. Knight takes, rook over, check. No, but then you lose your rook, so you got to just take. And take the extra pawn. Take the extra pawn. and just go back. They could get this, which is sketchy, to say the least. They've taken. They've taken. That's good for us, right? Bang, mate. Or bang, 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 bang is mate. There. Yeah, you have to throw in G5 to cover the knight. Yeah, and then it's just mate either way on H6. Woo! They didn't go for the critical line. You love it when that happens. Yeah, we were in trouble there. I'm excited to see what the computer says, to be honest. Very excited. Yeah, Rook H8. It's got to be Rook H8 there. Has to be Rook H8. I think that would go as a brilliant, because they take its mate. They resign. Perfect. 44 seconds. Yeah, that would have been sketchy if they played on. That would have been very sketchy if they played on. I think we played a good game, though. We played a pretty good game. It's not often you get good attacks in this line of the Scotch, to be honest. So I'm very happy with that. 85.9 versus a 68.7, 2250 versus a 1500. That's harsh to my opponent, to be fair. That's very, very harsh. Yeah, so we know this line. I covered it in my Scotch video. E5, very interesting move. Queen E7. Then I believe you go Queen D4. Not Queen D4, Queen E2. Oh, Queen E2 to stop the pin. Knight goes, and then is it C4? Yeah, knight back. And then B3. I think is theory. Yeah, that's theory. And this gives a slightly more aggressive game for white, rather than sort of sitting back a bit. I don't like my pawns being up this far in the board. To be honest, I'm not a fan. And I don't really like the queen on E2. I play queen E2 in the Caro because that has some solid concrete lines to it with mating threats. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this, to be honest. So I think we're probably going to stick with this other line that we play with bishop D3. Bishop C5, not the move. It's playable. It's completely playable. Bishop B4, slightly better if you want to move the bishop. The computer will say D5. No. And apparently it still wants E5 here. I'm guessing with similar ideas. Queen E2 is a mistake. Oh, you castle with the threat of queen takes with the pin on the... Yeah, you just castle out of the way. Queen takes. Rook E1's devastating. It's very, very devastating. Apparently queen there is not even the best move. The best move is just knight D5. Seems strange to me. B4? C4, sorry? C4, it wants queen G4. Oh, with the threat of bishop C4 with a pit. No, wait, that's not even hitting castles. Castles is fine. It wants king F8? Are you joking? That's wild. What? That is absolutely crazy. So you give up the... You have to give up the exchange. Oh, because you've got no queen there. Ah, that's the whole reason why. So king F8. Wow, it just stops the pin. That's insane. I'm guessing you're just launching this H pawn forward in order to free up this rook. That's wild. Yeah, wow. Anyway, castles. They played move order a bit strange here. And then they moved their bishop again, which I thought was good for us. And they need to be claiming the center here. You can, I guess, play this. But as we saw, it left them... Having this on D6 actually left them with the double isolated pawns on both sides. Which it's just not a good look, to be honest. Yeah, apparently they can play bishop G5. So this not playing G5 here actually puts it to plus 1.6 from 0.5, which is insane. Because I would never think of playing G5 here. It looks so weakening, especially like with this bishop and the queen coming in as well. It looks sketchy, but I guess the computer likes it, to be fair. So who am I to suggest otherwise? F4 is a better move rather than E5. I thought E5 would be like an immediate go-to. You lose a lot of your advantage, though, apparently. Going back to point 5. The point of f4 is... I don't know. I guess it's just a good attacking piece. You're kicking this bishop back a bit. E5's still there. I guess it's not going anywhere. So, yeah. It's almost sort of Grand Prix style, I guess. This bishop's a bit weird. But, yeah. This is a nice reroute, actually, for this bishop. Coming back here. Sorry. With check to go here to stop e5 is really quite nice. Although it's not really stopped because I still have the f-pawn now and the rook still there. Anyway, back on track. Takes, rook takes. I mean, why not? You know, why not? And then we're definitely taking this knight. 100%. We're never not taking this knight. Bishop d6, apparently the best move. Looks very clean. Yes, you have doubled, but this is a very nice bishop pair pointed straight towards my king. You get a tempo on my rook. Back to e1, I guess. E3 is slightly better, but yeah. Bishop takes just gives me so much counterplay. Rook h5. This is 2.1 here, so this queen moves is really the turning point of the game. And then g3 is really nice as well. Like, we calculated that out. They can't go anywhere but d6. Knight e4 is very natural. Oh, and apparently rook takes is a mistake. Wow, gone from 7.2 to 3.4. The move is queen c1. I would have never spotted that in a million years. Just looking for like an immediate mate here. They play f5, f6 just to stop that. And the problem is you can't mate without blocking g6. So you throw in some checks. You go there. Yeah, they've got to give up the queen. Very, very nice. King g7 is a great move. Really, really good move. And apparently the move is rook takes. Ooh. I just thought that didn't look right. I just thought it didn't look right at all. I didn't see how you carry on here. Any queen h5's met with a rook h8. Doesn't look nice. I guess with the rook on f6, you're blocking the queen so you can actually check on g5. Is probably the idea. H4 even. H4 is ridiculous. I mean, it makes complete sense, but I mean that's begging to be opened up with a sacrifice of some kind. However you manage to do it, but yeah, wow. That looks double-edged, I think is the word. Yeah, rook g8 is very natural. You go king f8. Yeah, and then this is all of a sudden like you're having to defend. Yes, you're better. The computer's still saying plus 4.4. But this is sketchy. I think I would struggle to defend this. And I think any sane person would not want this in their game either. But yeah, king takes. We took with the knight. We took with the knight instead, which is still fine. Still 2.9. Rook h8 is the way to go. At which point you just take, and then play h4, and you're left with a similar position, but they don't have both of the rooks looking at your king, which might be a bit easier to defend. It's not as winning, but I think would be a bit easier to defend personally. King takes is just mating. We saw it's just mating. And it's key to throw in this g5 here in order to cover the knight. I was thinking of going straight to h7, but then the king takes knight is annoying. In fact, I think that's probably losing. No, it's still winning, apparently. Follow up. Queen h6. Wow, you're going on a run. You are going on a run. c3. Oh, wow. Wow. So bishop c5 is probably best. No. Oh, well, we saw what's best. So if you go there, you've got... Is it mating threats? Mate there. So you have to go bishop c5 if you want to save your bishop. And then what's the move? Mate in 1, apparently. Where is it? C4, mate. Wow. Or bishop c4, I guess. But c4 looks nicer. Anyway, wow, that's beautiful. I wouldn't have seen that. I would have thrown a lot of checks in, but yeah, to see that mate is pretty far-fetched, to be honest. Anyway, We won another game, 1915. We're coming back a bit. Very, very nice. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. And I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.